Prestige Fitness.
That's what you should have named it.
I'm gonna start a new one.
Too late.
You
now.
will start a new one.
Okay, we'll do it. It'll be better. It'll be better.
Okay.
We'll make a competitor shirts out. Episode 69 of the Throne Room. We're here. We made it. We are finally at episode 69 of the Throne Room. Alex King. Yeah, nice.
I'm Josh.
Okay. Alex King, Josh Pink, Zach Smith. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. If you're listening to the audio only on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever else you get podcasts, thank you. Go tell your friends. Go tell your mom. Go tell your dog about the show. We're seeing some growth. So thanks so much for that.
Shout out to the heads.
Yep.
What is that?
Our sophomores, they listen a lot.
Oh, well, shout out to you if you're a pisshead and the core. We got a lot to talk about today. If you haven't watched our roasts, respectively, we all roasted each other just to kind of get, to know each other. Make sure y'all are acclimated with some embarrassing stories that we have.
We gotta make sure those that aren't watching know how small Zach Smith is.
Yeah, he's really tiny. No, he's really tiny, so he's really small. But it's okay because we love him and we love him to death. So all three of those episodes are out now. All three of our roasts are out. A lot of good stuff there. Still kind of disappointed with my roast, but
we'll get you
back
at the end of the season.
Yeah. Forget y'all got to figure it out. We're now getting into the meat and potatoes of season 3. All right. No, we got a new co-host, man. We got a roast him. Okay. No, now we're getting into the strong body, the skeletal structure. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The skeletal structure is this. So I'm going to be covering sports. Josh is going to be covering meme stuff on Twitter, blah blah blah, just general notes, I guess, of the world. And then Zach is going to be covering any sort of conspiracy news or stories or whatever. So I left this up to him. He has complete creative control over this, but I think for the first...
That's scary.
Yeah.
The government is lying to you.
I think he's gotten in deep. I let him run with it, and he's done a great job. So the first 3 weeks, we're going to be talking about, in segments, a 9/11 conspiracy. That's literally all I know. So he's gonna have to fill us in.
Started off strong. Start with a bang.
9/11 conspiracy.
The biggest 9/11 conspiracy.
Open your mind up, and then it's gonna influence more and more. Like you open your mind up with the 9/11, a big one, and now everyone's woke, and then now we can start getting into deeper stuff where everyone's not gonna take it so not real.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
I hear you.
We'll get there.
All right. And so that's what we're gonna finish the show with. Josh, you're gonna be talking about some TikTok drama that we're just gonna make fun of people that think they're hard. But I'm covering sports.
The beast is hard.
Yeah,
way harder.
So I'm covering sports this week, and we're gonna start off with me, and then go down to Josh, and then finish with Zach. So stay tuned for the conspiracies, or if you want to skip ahead, do that. But whatever. Since this is originally a sports podcast, I have to include that within the body of the show.
Yeah, football.
So before we get into all that. So before we get into all that, like I said, we go check out the Patreon at patreon.com/throneroom. Just do the $1 a month one, okay? That's all we ask. It's $1. What are we doing? Come on. You have $1 laying around your couch, I'm sure. Already we got bonus episodes lined up. So it's $1 a month. If you like us, if you like, some of our stories about these kids that we talk about from high school.
The glory days.
Go do it. Also, go check us out on it. Or before we go there, if you don't want to spend money, go tell your friends about it. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Go, rate the show on iTunes. Go comment. Go subscribe on YouTube. Do that. That's
Paint us on your beer
stuff.
pong table.
Or that. Yeah, it's fine. There is one of those already.
There's no.
Yeah.
Going to be a second one.
There's a second one?
There is a second.
Yes.
Yep. I got a friend who's gonna put us on there.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Oh, we'll give him a shout out. What's his name?
Her name is Sarah.
Richards. Sarah Richards.
Shout out to Sarah.
Shout out to Sarah.
Better listen.
Yeah. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get into this. All right. We're on week 3 of the NFL and week 1 of college football. Right off the bat. So A&M played Vanderbilt last week, and in a grotesque display of offensive ability.
Incompetence.
Now, we're coming off of a season where, I'm very concerned about how Kellen Mond is as a quarterback, regardless of the fact that he led the SEC in passing yards. We saw a lot of turnovers. A&M was number 1 in all of turnovers in all of the SEC. And we didn't disappoint in that regard. Frankly, we haven't gotten any better with our turnover ratio. We had 3 turnovers last night.
So bad.
It was disgusting.
So bad.
One of them you could say was Kellen Mond's fault. I would say it's the left tackle's fault for not blocking. We have a young offensive line. Because it wasn't his fault. He didn't purposely fumble.
You know why he led the SEC with passing yards last year?
Go ahead.
It was because he went on big passes, and they ended up being 40-yard passes, and then that's what it was.
Well,
it was a couple of those that ended up at total.
He did better at that than anybody else in the SEC, including Tua Tagovailoa, including Nick Fromm, or Jake Fromm, excuse me, not Nick Fromm, Jake Fromm.
We should have tuned in on the Beast of Carnage's live stream. He's in on
Kellen Mond?
No, Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm.
He is a Beast of Carnage fan.
Because he's a big Georgia fan. That's why. We'll get into it. Anyway, so said some racist stuff apparently. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah,
who's not?
Yeah.
These days.
I don't know.
Yeah, not me.
Right.
You know what I mean.
Right. So, am I disappointed? Yes, because the score was a 5-point game. With our offense, we should have blown them out of the water by at least 2 touchdowns. It was within 5.
We moved down on the leaderboards.
Yeah, we did. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Isaiah Spiller's play. He played really well, very strong back. We should have fed him more. We had 2 terrible plays in the special teams right off the bat.
Oh yeah, the punt return.
I don't understand what we were doing. We have a lot of freshmen on the team. We're a young team, all young receivers. Of course, with Osborne, he's opted out, and our secondary's hurting. Obviously, we have Leon O'Neal Jr. He's kind of our biggest star in the secondary. But essentially, what we have here is Kellen Mond throwing to young kids. Young freshman college kids. I thought he looked good in the pocket. He moved well in the pocket. I think that's an improvement from last season. He didn't move well in the pocket last season, but I thought he moved better in week 1 against Vandy. He for sure made some quick throws, some quick decisions, and that's what you get when you're under a Jimbo Fisher offense for 3 years. You're really, at this point, he should be used to the offense. He should be, he knows every play. He knows how to read the defense. He's good on that regard. I think he just sort of rushes some passes. He still has this problem where he'll overthrow a guy. It's like, I don't know where he's passing, but he just overthrows every other 5th pass. I don't know where that's coming in, but I do see some improvement. The only issue I have is offensive line weaknesses, and I have a problem with the young receiver core. So we'll keep you tuned. But we did move down and score in the freaking leaderboard.
I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, we lost to Vanderbilt, or we won Vanderbilt, but barely.
Yeah, it was a 1-possession game, and it shouldn't be a 1-possession game.
No,
they're unranked, and we were number 10.
My score prediction was way higher than it was.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a blowout.
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna be like 35. I gave Vanderbilt 2 touchdowns because that's just how A&M rolls. We're not a shutout team. I gave it 35-14.
Well, you do. We have such a talented team, but when you turn over the ball like we did,
it's the little things that turn into huge things.
We're just handing them points,
Exactly.
In other news, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys because a lot of people, and we spoke about this on the last episode where we talked to, I think the episode's called Dak Isn't LeBron. Okay, so go check that one out. And, of course, this was back when Dak Prescott was saying that he wanted more money on his contract than frickin' LeBron James. And I said, well, he's not LeBron James, so he's not going to get that contract. No. Ended up getting a $30 million contract extension. Which boy got paid. It might not have been what he wanted exactly, but boy got paid. He's up there. He's playing phenomenal, I think. Again, in the game against the Seahawks today, same play that freaking Kellen Mond experienced in week 1. Without their starting left tackle, Tyron Smith, guy came around, just knocked the ball out. It was a fumble. Same thing happened, So that's a turnover on him. And then again, he tried to Hail Mary it to win the ball game and threw a pick. But other than that, back-to-back 400-yard games. You're doing great, and we kind of expected this. We kind of you have 3 stud receivers: Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and this other dude Brown had kind of a breakout game anyway. But we're supposed to have 3,000-yard receivers. I don't think other than this week with Michael Gallup, he had a big game, but in the last 2 weeks he really hasn't had any sort of major production, and that was a disappointment. Either way, I think without the crazy onside kick and the comeback against Atlanta last week, they would be 0-3 right now.
What was that touchback play you were talking about?
Yeah, so Russell Wilson, this is in the game against the Cowboys. So Russell Wilson throws a 54-yard bomb to DK Metcalf, and DK Metcalf obviously trying to walk into the end zone. He's holding the ball with one hand, and punches the ball out of his hand as DK's like crossing the end zone, and it goes out of the end zone, meaning that it's a touchback.
Mm-hmm.
Same play that we had with against Clemson, a couple years ago.
Yep.
We were supposed to score, but he knocked the ball out of the end zone, and it was a touchback. We probably would have beat Clemson at that point. So same play. So
Those two missed field goals, but yeah.
yeah, that too.
Whatever.
I mean,
It's always special teams day.
either way. So yeah, I mean, that's just DK being DK, and he ended up having another long bomb for a touchdown. So he made it up. Either way, I think the Cowboys have a promising year. They have a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, losing Leighton Vander Esch at that outside linebacker spot. Kind of a big name to remember is Aldon Smith. He hasn't played in the league for 4 years, and he came out of nowhere, had at least 3 sacks today. So he's the sack leader of week 3 in the NFL, and he's coming off of not playing in the NFL for 4 years. That's kind of crazy. Other big thing we want to get to is KJ Castello. I don't know. His first start of any sort of college football team, and he started against LSU. This is the Mississippi State quarterback. Started against LSU. LSU coming off of a national championship season, losing Joe Burrow, losing a stud wide receiver in freaking Justin Jefferson. Big SEC West game in LSU. Dude throws for 623 passing yards and like 6 touchdowns. Okay, first game, little white
One
dude.
game.
Yeah, first game.
my goodness.
First game. He started in Death Valley through 623
Yeah,
passing
that's
yards.
something.
He is the only SEC quarterback in history to throw for over 600 passing yards in a game. The first one. Little white dude.
history.
In history. No one's ever thrown for more than 600 yards in an
There's your
SEC
season.
game.
There's your champion.
Yeah, and obviously Mississippi
Rising.
State ended up beating LSU in week 1. Crazy upset. We had a lot of upsets
Yeah.
in this game. So TU played Kansas State, and somehow
They played Tech.
OU played
Tech.
Kansas State.
Yes, I
TU
messed that
played
up.
Tech, yep.
Yes. So Oklahoma. Thank you so much. Okay, so Oklahoma played Kansas State, and TU, or Texas University, for those of you who aren't at A&M, they played Texas Tech. Texas Tech had a great game but just let it through their hands in overtime, and so TU ended up winning. Now, we should have beat Vandy by more points than we did. We were ranked number 10. We still beat them. Didn't go into overtime, and we moved down to rank 13.
Mm-hmm.
TU was at number 13, I think, at the
Yeah.
time. Almost lost to Tech, who shouldn't be anything, unranked, and almost lost in overtime and moved up.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. The rankings go so weird.
I
We'll
don't-
win one game, we'll go down 4 spots, and then
This happens every year, every single year. And I made a podcast about it a long time ago called Texas Isn't Back, because every single season Texas wins one game and freaking Sam Ellinger's
We're
out here.
back.
We're back. No, you're not. No, you're not back. You win one game in overtime against a team that you shouldn't be losing to at all. What's up?
Is your mic good?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were
Speak.
fiddling with it. Never mind.
I'm just chilling.
Okay.
All right. Against
on-
a team that they shouldn't even be in overtime with, and they move up in the rankings. So I don't know what the heck is going on with these ratings, but they're ridiculous.
Who makes these rankings?
There's an AP coaches poll where the coaches
elect-
vote.
Do they
Oral
do they
college.
rank each other almost?
Yeah, well, so it's like every coach gets a vote for first place. So if you get the most votes for first place, then you're the first. But that's the
Okay.
AP coaches poll. Then there's the ESPN poll, which is like
Those are two
where-
different ones? Or are they
Yeah,
all going to one?
there's two different. There's two
Okay.
different rankings. But either way, we're like 9 or 8 or 10 right now.
Which is reasonable.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, excuse me. Last week, before week 1, we were like 9, 8, or 10, and then this week we're like 13, hanging around there. And TU's still above us.
Yeah, we'll see.
Also, Spencer Rattler was supposed to be the next, Kyler Murray, the next Lamar Jackson at Oklahoma. They've had insane quarterbacks at Oklahoma the last 3 years, and he was supposed to be the next man up, probably a Heisman candidate. Dude threw 4 touchdowns, but he threw 3 picks, and that's sort of why. Again, when you turn the ball over that much, you lose games against teams you shouldn't lose to.
Yep.
And that was Kansas State this week. They pulled off a crazy upset. I'm trying to think if there's any more.
It's like a KD ratio
Those
almost.
are all the notable games.
Yeah, those are the notable ones.
Shout out to My KD ratio.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you throw that many touchdowns, but then you throw that many picks. It's like saying, dude, I got 50 kills in this game, but I had like 75 deaths.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
just doesn't count. Doesn't count. That's
what that is.
You can't measure me by my games on shipment. Look,
Yeah.
I'm grinding the battle
That's
pass.
exactly right. Yeah, you run in, spawn, maybe get 2 kills, and then you end up like 60 and 30.
Yep.
Or 30 and 60. Either one.
I'm saying the most kills I ever got in shipment domination match. That's where you go try and get your record. 120.
120. Look at you.
What'd you use?
Such a big boy.
Oh, shotgun.
Which the D shotgun?
Yeah, you think I could have done that with anything else? No.
Sure.
No, you can't do that on shipment.
Anyways,
Shout out to shipment.
I think.
shut shipment.
You think this is a reflection of how A&M's gonna do this year?
Yes.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
I think turnovers are, especially in week 1, and I get it. There's a lot of things to clean up. But the problem is you have 3 young guys. You have a veteran quarterback that's played under Jimbo Fisher for 3 seasons now, and so he should know the offense, and so he should be able to spread the ball around amongst a bunch of receivers. I mean, last year he threw it to Osborne, every other play because he trusted that guy. He was the veteran receiver out there. Same with Rodgers. Same with Kendrick Rodgers. He was the veteran guy. So he was either one of those two, or Sternberger. Same thing with him 2 years ago. Got a nasty tight end this year again, but just young receivers and a young hurt offensive line.
It's always one tiny part. A&M hasn't been a completely great team forever.
Yeah.
At least in, I would say, like 2012.
Yeah,
maybe,
there's
with
always
Johnny Manziel.
there's always one cog.
It's either special teams,
Cog. There's-
like freshmen, even last year, honestly. Special teams, PAT couldn't get that for crap. We lost games because of missed field goals.
Yeah.
You have turnovers from this game with a punt return, ridiculous. A few years ago it was our defense. Not too long ago it was our offensive line. And then are we missing a starting wide receiver?
Yes.
I know
yes.
I know one has not been going to practice,
Yes.
which therefore he shouldn't play. I don't know if he did, but
No,
I
no,
can't
well,
remember his name. But
because Jamon All's opted out because of COVID.
okay.
So
Rona.
Speaking of that, I actually had a friend, or he wasn't a friend. Sorry, cut that part out. I don't want him to listen to the. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know.
Okay.
I had a brain fart right now.
We
Come on, man.
friends?
Anyways, so no, I went to a high school with a guy who went to Texas Tech, and was a redshirt his freshman year. Played special teams his sophomore year, and then this year he was like, even sophomore year. Sophomore year he started as a linebacker. He would go in like on a certain third and long or something like that, like certain those defensive plays. And he was projected to start this year like an outside linebacker, and was going to do really well for Texas Tech level. You know what I mean? And he opted out. He went back home, Texarkana.
what the heck?
Yeah,
Why? That's so
something
stupid.
with COVID mixed with mental health. I don't understand. I think this guy from high school in the beginning just wants attention, honestly. So I don't know. We'll see. He's taking it all the way.
That stadium was dead last night.
Oh, it was.
Artificial.
Oh, yeah.
Artificial.
Did you?
Really?
Oh my gosh! It was So the march and everything was great, and when we got into the game, it was great. Like the pregame before national anthem, like that. And then you look up like at second quarter and like the meat and potatoes of the game, and there's just like you can look up in third deck, and then the student section was pretty full, but everything else like. I was looking for the towels, especially like in the intro when they come out, and there was like nothing, and it was so sad.
Wow.
It was so sad, and you don't have anybody on the field. The band doesn't even play on the field. They play
Yeah,
the
that's
video.
They give a
That was
pre-recording.
so embarrassing. I was like, oh, the yell leaders aren't on the field anymore.
There's a whole yell where the cannon's supposed to go off.
There's not even
and
a
then-
cannon.
And then it's just one guy on the drum. Doom.
Oh, wow. Okay, I had this one thing I was going to rant about. So me and Austin watched the second half of our alma mater play. Alma mater play.
Our Autobot.
Our
play.
autoerotic asphyxiation play in week 1. So we watched Sachs play, but we only watched the second half. Anyway, so they played this whole football game, right? It doesn't matter, but we got blown out. So we watched this whole game. We watched this whole football game where there's no limit of any contact. It's a football game. You have people in the trenches, people exchanging sweat, spit, blood, maybe. It's like there's no limit to contact in high school football.
Yeah.
Then after the game, normally you go and like shake hands, you go walk the field, hey man, good game, good luck,
We're
Can't
allowed to
do that. Can't do that.
So you
Not
can, like,
allowed
just
to.
Rub your sweaty body on each other, but you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
just like
Yeah, no.
shake
So
someone's hand?
you can full on tackle somebody, throw them to the ground, but you can't touch their hand and say, "Hey, good game," because COVID. So now that the fourth quarter's over, the boogeyman, Mr. COVID man,
Shows
is
up.
gonna. Yeah, he's now he's out to play. Now you can get COVID.
Am I late?
Yeah, the percentage that you can acquire the COVID-19 virus goes up 1,000 billion% at the end of the fourth quarter somehow.
It really
Ridiculous.
does.
What are we doing? We're just pretending now. We're just pretending. This whole thing is a joke.
That's the cover. I'm going to say, like, if someone comes in and gets COVID, we'll be like, well, we took precautions. They didn't shake hands after the game.
Dude, you
That's
played a
all
whole
that is.
football game.
That's all that is, though.
To
say they had restrictions.
We're
and they didn't.
pretending.
Did
We're
y'all have,
pretending.
did y'all have, like, full capacity at the game? And stuff like that?
Oh, I know. I think, I
Or, like,
mean,
people
I
on the
wasn't
field,
there,
like, did
so
cheer or band go on the field at halftime or whatever?
no idea, because I was just live streaming it.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
just live streamed the second half, and, you know.
That's to cover their rears, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's to say, yeah, we took precautions.
Yeah.
Or is
So,
it just no one wanted to come up?
Maybe. Who
Bad
knows?
boy game.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Where are we at? 20 minutes. Okay, I think 20 minutes is good for sports this
We're
week.
gonna keep going on with some real football.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know you were there. I like this started when you still had TikTok, but you don't have it anymore. About like halfway through summer, this one video blew up from an account at the time known as
Woodmont Safety.
Woodmont Elite
Elite.
Safety, and it was just doing TikToks where he was voicing over like songs about being hard and being a gangster and all this stuff and talking mad mess about how he was tearing it up. And there were two people in the comments that were like, "Oh, this is funny, bench warmer, water boy." But then there were those people that were like hyping him up, like, "Yeah, man, you gonna kill it this
Well,
season."
you have to say this dude's maybe like 5'6" and like 90 pounds.
Yeah.
He's built like the Avengers would come in his room.
And he looks like he looks like he has some stuff. I'll be honest.
He
Oh,
looked-
dude, his eyes
yeah.
are on the sides of his head, bro. He looks like a hammerhead shark.
Yeah,
like
he
Tom
does.
and Jerry accidents.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
he does kind of look goofy. Got some like thick, like we're talking 4-inch thick glasses on him. Like,
And goggles for the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sport
goggles
the
for the game.
wraparound
Goggles
goggles.
for the game.
yeah,
baby.
yeah. I mean,
So-
he is skin and bones. At
I
5'6".
gave him the follow. I was like, I want to see where this goes. This is,
Yeah.
this is gonna keep going.
Yeah,
And so we got closer to football season, and he started posting serious videos
yeah.
talking about how like God chose him to lead the team this season. He's like, everything I worked for is gonna pay off, and he's circling the whiteboard right on a month that it's like 2 away from.
Yeah.
Every ounce of sweat I've poured, every pet I've swored.
What?
I was trying to mix up the Trees PD.
Trees
Every
PD
Trees
and
PD I've
Buff
signed.
and Buff dissed.
Yeah, and Buff this.
Buff dissed.
Yeah, so he was, and then so finally, and you delete TikTok at this point. I was like, dude, this kid's going off. He's posting huddle clips, and you're like, this isn't real.
Yeah, his dude. First of all, he's one of those kids that will like, and I hated this in high school because all the people that would post stuff where they're like Saturday morning and they're like on the field by themselves
Yeah.
in the lab where while
In
y'all
the lab.
sleeping in the lab while y'all
He
sleeping.
has it in the lab Snapchat.
Yeah,
There's it in the
he's
lab
like, bro,
Snapchat.
I'm in the field, and they post like the syringe emoji. They're like,
Yes.
in the lab while y'all sleep.
Just
y'all,
their
I'm
helmet
on
and
the
their
come
visor,
up,
like in the
Yeah.
morning grass.
or it's like cleats like on the grass.
with their gloves
Yeah.
there.
All of those kids
As a
never
lineman.
played. All of those kids never played.
The eye
ever.
black I'm wearing this season.
Yeah,
Dude, that
He
was
would-
not just eye black. That was almost blackface, dude. That dude
Yeah.
I'm talking about all the way across.
Yeah.
I don't know who the men think he is. It was,
Yeah.
It
Which
was all over
he
his
said
face.
he said he's a safety, but he has like clips.
he's
of
a
him.
corner.
About a week before game day,
Oh,
before
that's
the
right.
scrimmage, he changed his name to Beast of Carnage, and he was like,
The Beast of
on
Carnage.
this day, the Beast will be uncaged.
Yep.
And for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see it. He's got videos. Him and his fans, they go,
No,
Yeah.
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 yeah. His eyes about to pop out even more than they are. But he had fans. He'd be like posting videos where he's with like hella chicks at the house, and they're all doing the
Hella chicks.
Ah.
Yo, and people would like duet it where they're all doing this.
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
just
Freaking thing. It was
compilations
his
of
thing.
everyone doing the Beast thing,
It was
Beast
his
mode.
thing. Yeah.
We got to find his huddle.
Yeah, I know. I've been waiting for him to
Yeah.
post the link. But anyway, yes, the scrimmage comes around, and I came up to you. I texted you the next day. I was like, hey, Beast of Carnage, 35-0 won a scrimmage. And you're like, BS.
No, he
And
didn't play though, did he?
He did. According to him, he played.
I think they actually, because I've seen like clips he posted on TikTok.
yes,
and, like,
there are clips
he's
of
on
him
the
playing.
field. Like,
Yeah.
as he leads the tunnel. I think it's a hype
How do
show.
you know? How do you know he's on the field? Because
There's plays on. Okay, he's
He
that
puts
little bitty
clips
kid.
of
the play
puddles.
the play that you showed me, just looked like another skinny dude. And this is a team full of people that look like him. We're talking about they're in the district of the School of the Blinds.
Oh yeah.
Like all of like the short bus kids are in this one.
This is where the Willy Wonka kid
This
lives.
is this is where all of like the middle school kids that like thought they were hard and got to high school. It's like a whole freshman group.
Oh yeah,
it's a whole JV league.
Yeah, those little bitty kids who were like overly aggressive because they just want to put effort in. Like
Yeah.
I forgot. I don't know what basketball player it was, but you know that little kid. It's a clip of what's his name?
My name's Trey. I got a basketball
No,
game.
it's this tall guy. He's in NBA now. Zion Williams, I think.
Zion Williams.
Zion Williams, yes.
Okay, where's this gonna go?
All right,
Because he's a freaking monster.
Yeah, it was him back in high school. I'm not, don't quote me on this. I'm like 90% sure it was him. Zion Williams in high school playing like his little special league or whatever. And there was this little bitty kid, like 5'6" maybe, had a little blonde mohawk, barely looked like he looked puberty. Because this dude was humongous. He's like 17 years old,
Yeah,
or
he's a monster.
even 15 years old. Everyone else hadn't even hit puberty yet, and this guy was all up on him, going like this and stuff like that. And he's just like, like being overly aggressive, trying to be rough with him and guarding him and stuff like that. And and Zion was just dunking on his butt. But it was like that. Like the little bitty kid was always overly aggressive just to put in all the effort. And he's like, "I worked your ass, bro." And it's just he's that guy.
So the whole sideline in these videos, you can see the sideline. It's like all kids like this high.
Yeah,
There's
they're little.
no meat on their bones. So it's like, how do you really know if he's the one out there on the field? It could have been.
You gotta
any
trust
other
him.
person.
You gotta trust the beast.
I
If
don't
you're a
trust the
real,
Beast of
if you're a real
Carnage, dude.
supporter,
he's on the bench.
I know.
I'm Team Beast.
He may be on the bench, but he has played before, and I have seen clips about it. Because there's also there's like anti-TikToks about him saying like calling him out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
where this dude just gets drilled.
This
by,
dude
like,
has
a
fan accounts and like hater accounts.
Oh my gosh!
Like
So much is around this kid.
there are Beast of Carnage stands out there, like K-pop stands. But so anyway, they played their first real game, and I guess it was the 34-0 they won. And so everything changed. He started getting a little cocky, you know how it goes. He's in the room celebrating, posting TikToks about getting autographs and stuff.
Oh my gosh!
And then in between, it was this week, or I guess this previous week when you're listening, some dude started an account for some skinny, like there's those teams where like
another beast on a different team.
Yeah.
They put in like all the good players, and then they need someone to fill in this last spot. So like, who is the least of the worst or the best of the worst?
Yeah.
And they put this in, and like, so this TikTok account, the Viper came out.
Right. The
And
Viper.
it's long neck. You've seen long neck,
Yes.
right? Yeah, it's long neck.
It's literally looks exactly.
And
like
all the
long
clips he would
neck,
post
dude.
is like the beast scared, and it would just be long neck getting drilled. They'd run. There was one clip where he was offsides when the play started, and they threw a flag on him, and they're like, he's itching to get in there, and he was offsides.
Just like running in the wrong direction. Man, you don't want the smoke.
So they blew. Like, I guess this dude got a big head, and so he took over the TikTok and kept posting these clips of him getting drilled.
Do
And then
you think is he serious though, or is he just messing?
I think he's like. I think it was like half serious, half like the messing became into serious.
Yeah.
This the biggest like fan account is Beast versus Viper, and it was.
I think they're in the same division, so I think they played.
Yeah,
each other,
they played this week.
Yeah.
They lost.
And, so they played this week.
Wait, who lost?
The
The Beast of Carnage lost.
Okay.
It was like 35-10.
Oh wow.
And the Beast of Carnage didn't even play.
Oh wow.
I wonder if like the coach found out about it and was like,
Yeah, we can't.
No.
Yeah.
But anyway, he lost, and like, dude, no.
Wait, so what is the Viper? Like, what position does the Viper play? Do we know?
Like the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's you know how it goes. If you're not skilled to play, no offense to people who are out there, it's like baseball. You play like left, right, or like left out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you play right field. That's usually like when you're 12 and under, right field means you're the worst player on the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In that kind of level of football, in my opinion, if you're not skilled enough to play like a certain position, like, big people are going to go to the line, and then you have really fast people who are going to be like your backs and like your secondary, defense, stuff like that. And if you don't have anywhere else to play, you put them at corner and receiver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to run routes and just to stand there.
Well, the Beast is a linebacker now.
No. He uses safety.
No,
He went to.
They made him
corner.
a linebacker this
Really?
week, but he didn't play as a linebacker.
Oh,
but they
okay.
made him a linebacker.
Oh,
There's
was that
no-
the TikTok where he was like, new position, new number, 34, baby.
New practice jerseys, new position.
Okay, hang on. So since I played linebacker in high school on varsity,
He's you.
But here's the thing. I swear, if you say that again, I'll slap you in the face with never mind.
He's worn the same eye.
Your
black
name is
pattern
Alex.
you
His name
have.
is Beast. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Okay,
We are not
that's the conspiracy.
We are not the same.
Look,
Have you ever seen Alex and the Beast of Carnage in the same place?
Look,
No.
look. I was a small linebacker, okay? All right? This guy beats that word small by like 10 to the 10th power.
If you laid him flat, you could pour a cup of water on his chest and it would stay there.
Yeah.
It would pull in the middle.
It's
Inverted.
concave.
Yeah.
It's a concave
He might
chest.
break whatever bones right here.
Yeah.
His sternum and his
is-
spine are touching. That's how.
Oh, yeah.
That's how small
It's
he
rough.
is. There's no meat on that thing. So it's like 9. You're not. I was a 175-pound linebacker. This dude's maybe 110 pounds.
Yeah.
Maybe.
20
Yeah, I would say
generous.
125.
Maybe
Just for like,
maybe 125.
it's still, yeah.
That's still
no.
insane. There's no way.
Dude, but the beef got real. Like 3 days before the game, the Viper there's screenshots of him DMing him, and he's like, "You don't want this. Don't meet me in a dark alley." And the Beast of Carnage just go on Facebook Live, and he was like, "They'd need the cops to get me off of him, man. I would mercy kill this
Dude,
kid."
you know, there's like rumors. I don't know if it's a rumor. Y'all might have known more about it than I do, but one of the Pauls is trying to fight Mayweather.
Yes.
Oh,
they
gosh.
should do that for the Viper
The Beast of Carnage.
and the Beast of Carnage.
The Viper called him out. He said, "We'll fight 1v1 and I'll win."
Yeah, no, like you know how they have like TikTok live streams if
Yes.
you're over 10,000 whatever. They should just do a live stream on both of their profiles where they fight.
The
and
Beast
they'd
of
probably
Carnage one.
they'd probably
Or,
put
yeah.
they could put like a somehow hook up like a Patreon thing to it.
They've already
would
got
probably
a page.
make a bunch of money.
Oh, yeah.
The Beast and Viper TikTok page. They could do it there.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta message him about this.
Can we,
Yes.
can we go back to that fight real quick?
Yeah. What? Oh yeah, Mayweather.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Is this like a legit thing?
No, it's
Like he
okay.
wants to.
It's so
or like
it's so.
Is it the older one,
He
or-
knows that
It's gotta be
he's
the younger one.
nobody in their right mind is gonna think that is it Logan or Jake? I think it's
Logan.
Jake.
Jake is a better boxer than Logan.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
no.
I've seen 'em
either
both
way,
box.
either way, there's no way that either of them know that they have a chance at beating Mayweather.
Yeah, no.
If
He's-
I got
he's-
hit by him, I'd cry.
Have you seen this man jump rope, bro?
He's arguably
my
the
jump
best
rope idol.
boxer in history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Across weight divisions, arguably the best. Nobody has hit anybody less times than Floyd Mayweather. Or no, I said that wrong. Nobody has avoided as many punches as Floyd Mayweather has in their career.
Defensively.
Let's just look at this. Okay, like take a guy like freaking Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson. Okay, forget the fact that they're training right now and they look great. Their mind is still kind of like you can tell that they had some
had
head
some hits.
trauma.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell that they've been hit in the head. Mayweather talks fluently. He's brilliant. He plays the like the publicity card extremely well, probably better than any other boxer in history ever has. That's because nobody has been able to hit him.
No.
Nobody's been able to hit him. You know, he's been hit less
very versatile
than any
fighter.
other. So you think that some random YouTuber off the street that's been boxing for a year has a
Had
chance?
two,
No.
Not even close.
two professional
No.
matches at most. If I,
Yeah.
And they were both
I won't
like
even-
KSI. Just
Yeah.
I won't even lower this to me. If he tried to block Mayweather, I think the punch would just like continue through.
Yeah.
I know if he hit me, my feet would leave the ground.
He
the
has
thing
such a
is that
fast jab,
Mayweather,
dude.
yeah, it's quick. So
Yeah.
especially in like a lighter weight division, like I think it's a lower midweight or lightweight. I'm pretty sure he's lightweight. He's a small guy, but it's not about like the hard like the amount of force he's hitting with. It's so many punches coming at that fast, like that speed, and
in the same
defensively he's
place.
amazing.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
his feet work. I got into jump rope recently, and like Floyd Mayweather is arguably one of the best jump
Yeah.
ropers. In the
No
planet.
doubt. Well,
And-
his footwork is
yeah,
immaculate.
exactly.
y'all-
It's just quick and light,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. I love watching him, and that makes. Sorry, I can go. I love fighting. It's so much fun.
Well, I was gonna keep it going. So did y'all see the fight last night?
No,
Israel
right.
Adesanya and Paulo Costa.
No, I saw the highlights on my YouTube. I didn't click it though. I plan to do it.
So
when I get back.
they were both undefeated. Okay.
Yeah.
And the middleweight division is stacked with insane athletes. Okay. Israel Adesanya came out of nowhere, the defending champion, and Paulo Costa is a jacked individual, huge. I've seen him when he fights at like 190 or when he was at 190. He fights at 185, but when he's fighting at 185, he looks skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that when he's like at his best, he is like jacked, enormous. I have videos saved on my phone where he's just like hitting the pads, but he looks jacked and juicy. Last night he looked small compared to and that was at 185. So anyway, and he's just insane power, and so they fought, right? Mm-hmm. And they talk so much crap. Obviously, Costa's talking about how skinny Israel Adesanya is, and how he's gonna just overwhelm him with power. That was the storyline.
That's what I like about like MMA and boxing when they talk to each other, because it's not like two guys that can't fight. It's like two guys that are like, okay.
Yeah.
McGregor and Pacquiao are apparently in the works of fighting.
Conor McGregor. You said McBurger. This is
McGruber.
How many times are you gonna miss up your words on this freaking podcast?
I want milk.
Yeah, we got Conor McBurger, 4 for 4.
Manny, what's
amazing
up?
fighter as well.
What's a
Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao, also another amazing fighter.
Manny Pacquiao is
very humble man too.
Bliss.
Morally great guy.
Anyway, Israel Adesanya had probably the best striking in the entire UFC at the moment, and it's just so fluid. He makes striking look like just an ocean wave.
Art.
He hits you with these crazy combinations.
Flows like water.
There's this moment where Costa tries to throw a leg kick. He avoids the leg kick, and while they're sort of in the clinch, hits him with like 2 body shots and a left and a right hook like at once, and that's really what put him away. Mm-hmm. Very early in the fight, it was called as a TKO, and Adesanya is continued to be undefeated, and I think I don't know who he's gonna fight next, but he wants to fight somebody else.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be another name
how long did it go for?
He's 12-0 right now.
How long did the fight go for last night?
Oh, like not even 45 seconds.
Those are.
They sort of danced around, and I hate when fighters do this, when they dance around and try to. I mean, unless you're
size them up.
Unless you're Anderson Silva or Israel Adesanya, especially unless you're Anderson Silva, you can't showboat during the fight. And
no.
and even Anderson Silva got knocked out when he was showboating. He lost a fight that he should have won because
it's a what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the word. Unpredictable sport, especially because you're not going to fight especially big time fighters. Not going to fight someone that they know they're going to beat. It's usually going to be a good competition. It's so unpredictable that you just got to stay humble. If you're going to get your clock knocked out, and it's just not. It's going to be embarrassing for you. And
Like
your
who's
whole
that
ego.
dude McGregor's fought like 3 times? The other like loudmouth. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I'll remember later.
But you remember, like, that fight was, like, it was going either way, and then he pulled up and got the rear naked choke on McGregor, and that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah. Well, he's going to fight Pacquiao, and my prediction right off the bat is it's going to go the same way it went with Mayweather.
Yeah.
He has, okay,
that
here's
was
the thing.
I paid, I think, $80 with, like, some of my buddies. I'll split it just to watch that fight. Yeah. Not even more. And you said that, Floyd Mayweather, arguably one of the best boxers of all time. Mm-hmm. And Conor McGregor, one of the best
mixed martial
arts fighters of all time. And then he goes just to boxing, which is completely different. And you can argue saying like they're still throwing punches, but like the style, the technique, everything is completely different.
No, it's an insane feat to have your first professional boxing fight against the best
and he did
boxer.
Well,
and he went 10 rounds with the best boxer.
And he just got tired out. Like honestly, it might have been a different turnout if he would have had a little more training.
Again, another nod to Floyd Mayweather. His conditioning is second to none.
Yeah.
And
that was a rocky performance.
And even in the MMA, Conor has probably some of the best conditioning. At least at the time of the fight, he had some of the best conditioning.
That was a Rocky Balboa strategy. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you just
tired.
get beat until your opponent tires out, then that's when you just go for the kill.
Yeah,
man.
he had the boxing purists will probably comment and say, well, Mayweather fought with a different style this fight than he normally does, so it probably would have lasted maybe 3 rounds if he stuck to his orthodox.
Why didn't he then?
Well, I don't know, but either way, the way he fought sort of more aggressive in that fight, and trying to overwhelm Conor since he doesn't really have the experience, but it didn't work. And Conor stuck with him. I think, unfortunately, it's going to go the same way. You're still fighting a crazy conditioned athlete.
Yeah,
Manny Pacquiao is not probably as far as like the strictly athletic conditioning goes. It's Mayweather and then Pacquiao.
Pacquiao's
that's
a
why
lot
those fights
stricter,
are
like gearing up for something than McGregor is.
Definitely.
I want to see the fight. I want to see Mayweather and Pacquiao fight again.
Yeah. Well,
That was
those
something.
those fights were annoying to me because it's not for lack of the action that got to me, but it kind of is.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
just
They build it up,
They're
and then
just
it was
they're
like,
just they're just such smart fighters, and they're so good at defense that
It was like
they,
watching a game of chess.
Yeah,
where they throw
that's
the pieces at
basically
each
it.
other.
That's basically it. They just kind of danced around each other, and a lot of people
That's
that
why
don't
heavyweight's
know,
more fun.
Yeah. Well, that's why there's people that don't like know boxing or fighting in general as much, and they would say, "Oh, this fight sucks," but it really is a chess match. They're trying to figure out tendencies. They're trying to figure out footwork. They're trying to figure out holes, opportunities.
Yeah.
So it really is a chess match, and you have to sort of understand that to appreciate that fight. But I would like to see that again.
But MMA featherweight, 2 crackheads figures going right at it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
something to behold.
No, I forgot.
Street fighting in
I
the
forgot.
backyard on
I-
YouTube, man.
I
Bare
forgot.
knuckles, baby. Oh my gosh, that's a fun.
freaking old highlights of Jorge Masvidal and
Oh,
freaking
yeah.
Kimbo Slice in those
Kimbo
fights.
slice, baby.
In those backyard
Oh,
fights,
yeah.
dude. That's where Masvidal got his reputation right there.
There's another small boxer that I've been following for a long time. His name is Ryan Garcia. don't know if
Oh,
you
I
know him.
hate that guy. He's
Really?
so pretentious. He's
Yeah,
fast.
that dude is
He's fast though.
insanely good.
Yeah, he's fast as hell. There was a thing where Jake Paul was trying to fight him.
Yeah, no, 100. He would have lost 100%.
Yeah.
That dude, I used to watch hours of highlights. This dude has like, I don't want to say exact numbers, but for someone who's like 22 years old, winning like, I don't want to say like 20 something fights maybe.
He's just so
in professional
fast.
career, like 13, 14 knockouts.
He's just
It's
so
insane.
fast. He's so fast. But I'm talking out of turn here because I don't really know as much about boxing as I do for UFC. But that weight class isn't stacked. He's
True.
the
True.
star in that weight class.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's fighting Canelo Alvarez. He's fighting like no-name dudes that they find off the street. He's not. He's not fighting any goats in that division. He is
True.
the upcoming goat. So. There's just vacancies, and that's how it is with all like the lower weight classes, really, in any sort
Yeah.
of boxing fight. There's really no like name, like household name.
So,
Where's that
anyways,
Mike
here's
Tyson fight?
9/11.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Oh, 9/11.
yeah,
Okay. Warning to whoever's going to edit this. Either you or
it's
your
me.
woman.
No, it's me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Warning. I'm going to probably take some pauses because I had all my tabs and like notes on my laptop and we just forgot it.
Okay.
So I had to re-pull them up.
Said we didn't need it.
Before we get into that, let's do the ads before we finish the
Yes.
show,
True.
so we don't have to do it later. Go ahead.
Imperium Fitness coming to you soon. I know we keep saying that every single episode. We've been saying that like the last 4 weeks. But, okay, look, it's a business that we started out of nothing, and it's a slow process. You know why 99% of businesses fail? They rush. They don't have a good business plan.
Yeah.
You got to have a salary. You know what happens? Just like the World Trade Center, okay? You don't have a good foundation, and you're.
I'm so excited for this.
Don't have a good foundation, then it's just gonna crumble to the ground, man. All 7 buildings. But
okay,
yeah.
well,
Anyways.
can you? Where can they buy your shirts right now?
Right now, you can buy them through me. Okay, so ZSmitty22, ZSmitty_22 on my Instagram. You can buy them through me. We have 2 available right now, and we are currently working on 6 more different products. So we have the website open, hopefully up by Christmas. We have a video shoot actually scheduled for Tuesday after my statistics test. Doing intro videos, and as soon as we get that, so they will be edited before the next episode after this one airs, so we can put it on the episode or the Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, no, just text me.
Things are rolling. I promise you. I've been saying the last 4 weeks that it's on standby, but we're college students. We're busy. We got things to do.
Yeah, I know.
But Imperium Fitness.
Also, fnxfit.com. We talk a lot about how great the clothing and Imperium Fitness is, and as soon as that comes out, we'll let you know. But the supplements at FNX Fit are second to none. Talking about creatine, vitamins, men and women multivitamins. They got
Horny
all
goat
sorts
weed.
of stuff. Horny goat weed if you're into the testosterone boosters. Me personally,
Little krills that go in a bottle and you eat them.
yeah, they got omega-3s. They got vitamin D. They have pretty much anything that you have ever heard of in the supplement world. They have it. And everything that you buy is for a good cause. If you use the code THRONE, THRONE, you'll get 15% off site-wide. And every single purchase that you make, they will donate a gallon of water to the children in Africa.
Hydrate them kids, baby.
And that
Hydrate them
sounds, yeah,
kids.
you got to hydrate them kids. That sounds cliche, I know, because everyone's talking about water in Africa, but they really do it. And you can see the counter of every single gallon that they will donate. You can see it on the website as you purchase. It's a great cause. It's a really good company. I've been using their products for quite some time. Me and Josh have been talking endlessly about them. Go check them out.
Follow their social media. They got some good.
Yeah,
PR.
go a week
Absolutely.
without water.
Yeah, it's
Go a
not
week
fun.
without water, and then you'll like be incentivized to actually do it.
Yeah, there's
Just
no.
see how it feels.
There's not a high success rate. For
He's
that.
done it.
You horrible
He's done it. He's gone a week without water.
I have.
And Brio bottle.
Speaking of water,
And Brio bottle. You
Or
need to
anything
check them
liquid.
out on Instagram at Brio_bottle.
Mm-hmm.
They are literally the goat of shaker bottles. Take your hydro flask that every girl's walking around with on campus, and take your very smelly shaker cup that you haven't washed but you're still going to use when you go to the gym today, and combine them together. What do you get? You get cold protein shakes that don't leave your bottle smelly at the end, because it is a great product.
No stink.
They are blowing
stank.
up. Get on it before they are the most hype thing ever. People
on
are starting to see them. I'm
Come on
seeing
now.
them on the streets.
Come on now.
I'm seeing them at the rec.
Yes, sir.
Get in on the ground level with this thing.
And what's that promo code?
The promo code is The Throne Room, all caps, no spaces.
Look at that. And what's the discount?
You will get 15% off your order.
Come
So
on now.
You could get the bottle, which is big,
Yeah,
and you could
it
get
is
the
thick.
shaker cup.
Yeah, it's a huge bottle. So for the discount for FNX, it's Throne all cap or not all caps, it doesn't matter. THRONE for 15% off on your supplements and 15% off on your Brio bottle if you use the code The Throne Room, all caps, no space. No, is it Throne Room or The Throne Room?
The Throne Room.
The Throne Room, no caps, all spaces. I said that backwards.
all caps,
All
no
caps,
spaces.
You get the point.
no
Bunch
caps,
of stuff.
all cap,
No caps at all. We don't cap on this show.
no cap.
Okay, without further ado,
Especially
I
about
want
no
you to-
capping. 9/11.
9/11. Here we go.
Speaking of that, yeah, I'll tell you what. Tom
Now,
is a pedophile.
now, before we get into this, now again, this is a 3-part series.
3-part series.
I'm a skeptic on 9/11 conspiracies, so please,
He's got me convinced.
My one goal of being on this podcast is to wake up the community. If I can't do the viewers, I will make you two woke by the end of this series.
hashtag woke, hashtag blessed, hashtag
Hydrate them kids.
hydrate them kids.
Hashtag on my mama not capping.
Did y'all see the end of the show? Oh, I haven't. Oh, yes, I did. Have you seen the end of my roast?
Which part?
The end credits, the end scroll.
I didn't see the very end of it. No.
Oh, okay, the end credits. I put thanks for watching. Hashtag hydrate them kids.
Dang right. Make that a thing. Maybe it's gonna go
Come
viral.
on now.
All right.
That's right.
Okay, hold up, back. Let's just go. So, how the 3-part series is going to go? All right. I wanted to start with a big one. For one, it's still September by the time we're filming this. 9/11 was a couple weeks ago. And to start the conspiracy, I want to go out with a bang, okay? I want one big part just so you can kind of get you loose a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to lie. Some of these conspiracies that you see on the internet and YouTube, whatever, they're out there. They're fake. But I only am a firm believer of conspiracies that actually have hard evidence. The stuff and like some of the stuff that we're going to explain to you next couple of weeks, and some of the stuff even after this whole 9/11 series is gonna like you're gonna question it.
Yeah.
Like there's and if you're a logical thinking person, you're gonna question it, and it's honestly quite scary. But yeah, the way this 3-part series is gonna go. First, I want to do before 9/11. So probably the earliest I'll probably start is around 1998.
Wow.
Getting this kind of stuff that's happening in the world, kind of like a little background information you need to know in order to kind of start believing these kind of things, or at least like just think about it.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to believe it.
Okay.
I'm asking you just to open your mind up and think about it. Don't shut me down either.
I'm wide open for
and
you.
I'm way open for questions, and then
All right.
I want to cite my sources as well.
Okay.
So
Jesus Christ.
yeah, so
MVP
like, 'cause-
of the show right now.
yeah, I mean, well,
in text
'cause-
citations.
Yeah.
because I'm not a huge believable person all the time, and like some of the stuff I say is gonna like be exaggerated just for like the joke. But
Yeah.
most of these things that I'm saying are facts, but
Yeah.
I don't want to get the facts wrong.
Okay.
And someone could look it up and be like, "You're wrong. I don't believe the whole conspiracy."
Mhm.
No, I want to give the sites. I want to give all the information where I get my information, so you have the resource so you can go watch for yourself and inform your own opinion.
Okay, here we go. That's the little disclaimer
So
we're going
today,
to give you.
yep. Today, Bapri, next episode, we're going to do what actually happened on that day
Mhm.
and about the tower conspiracy falling and demolition and stuff like that. And then afterwards, the after effects of it and a little bit more conspiracies going into that.
Okay,
Okay?
let's do it.
So let's just start back with 1998, okay? Saddam Hussein,
Mm-hmm.
since 97, is the president of Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. bad mumbo jumbo. Okay, pretty much the UN is all getting kind of mad because this guy is, using his money for weapons, sides with his people, yada yada. Basic Middle East stuff, right?
Yep.
There's stuff of terrorism happening there, and then there's like suspecting that Iraq is feeding like money through them, these radical organizations, terrorists, if you will. All these bad things happening, and plus the oil is just popping over there in the Middle East right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all the big kind of powers of the world, so U.S., Russia, China, all of them are trying to get their hands in it, and a lot of it's in Iraq, and Iraq's saying no, and it's just a whole mumbo jumbo mess. Okay.
Yep.
Moving forward, let's just go to this document. So this is Bill Clinton's time when this document was made. It started out in '98. And it kind of went into when it was finally signed and released in 2000, September of 2000, exactly 1 year before the September.
Was it on the 11th?
No, I'm not sure the exact date. I know this was.
But it was in September.
Yeah, but this was September 2000. Not 2001.
Okay.
It was 2000.
Yeah.
So pretty much what this was, it's called a Project for a New American Century, otherwise known as PNAC, PNAC.
Okay.
Which is pretty much a neoconservative. Just kind of plan, like a business plan, if you will, a government plan, if you will, about how to get, because the Republican Party was underperforming under Bill Clinton and Democratic Party was underperforming under Bill Clinton. Like, it was all a big mess about how we're going to get United States at the top. Because by then we weren't at the top. So even back in World War II, we were like the seventh power in the world. It was Russia, China, the big guys. And then we go into the Vietnam War, still not up there. We got into that war for almost no reason. I'll go to that another time. But... we're kind of at the bottom, and pretty much this document is saying how are we going to get back at the top? How are we going to gain superiority over the world and keep our sanctions and keep our ties with all the other countries in the world, stuff like that. Really complicated government stuff I'm not going to get into. I'm kind of getting the bread and butter of this. So pretty much big politicians, Jeb Bush, okay, Dick Cheney, vice president for George Bush, okay, released this document and this whole Project for New American Century, PNAC. Okay, and within that project, there is going to be a thing. This is where we pause.
Okay.
Because I had all my notes and stuff like that.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate this.
Yeah?
This is fun.
So, it's rebuilding America's defenses. And this is pretty much saying, it's a document signed by 25 individuals, high government power, saying that what the plan is, how they're going to increase military funding like crazy, a plan for all these events and stuff like that in order to gain an advantage against Saddam Hussein, kind of use that as an excuse to get into the oil industry and actually break through with that and rise, because the more money you have, the more power you're going to have.
Yep.
That's just the end of the day. It's pretty much saying it says right here, seek, preserve, and extend its position of global leadership by maintaining the preeminence of U.S. military power. Right, so increasing our military funding, getting our hand into the oil organizations and stuff like that. That's how we're going to increase back up to superiority, get over Russia and over China, because it's always been a dilemma, a debate between them.
Yep.
Okay, so skipping down here, there's 27 participants who actually signed this document, and it goes into this whole detailed stuff like that. And the main section of rebuilding America's defense is called Creating Tomorrow's Dominant Force. This is 1 year prior to September 11th attacks on September 2000, and they're debating the war in Iraq in this document. And there's an interesting quote that kind of starts the whole controversy of the actual 9/11 attacks. And I'm going to read this to you, and it's going to make you think a little bit. So it says, further, this is one of the ending quotes. Further, the process of transformation, even if it brings revolutionary change, is likely to be a long one, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event like a new Pearl Harbor.
What? I just got chills.
And that's an actual document signed by all these people who brought up tons of controversy. Now many people know this line too. Saying that the road to being a strong, superior country and to get what we want is a very long one, unless pretty much we have a huge excuse like our entry into World War II, Pearl Harbor. Right. Where Japan, and that's a whole other controversy in itself. We'll get into maybe.
Yeah, all that Project Scarlet stuff.
Yeah.
The list of terrorist acts they could do and blame on other world leaders.
Isn't that Project Blue Book?
Something like that.
We had this Project Blue Book where our government planned to shoot up schools and stuff.
Yes, that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get into that. There's something I'm not sure. They might be exactly what I'm talking about, but we'll get into that about Osama bin Laden.
Well, so it's
that as well.
if they were willing to do that, I think there was multiple of them. But
yes, they had a list planned of we could do this and pin it on that.
Yep. Yeah. And so if they're willing to do that, that's not. It's
not
a stretch.
What the quote just said without all the big words is in order to do this, it's going to be a very long time unless something huge happens to our country.
Unless we crash 2 planes into the World Trade Center.
Yeah,
like a new Pearl Harbor, and you don't just say that in a military, a government document without actually.
Yeah.
And this was bolded, highlighted.
What's the death toll for Pearl Harbor?
I want to say it was 2000.
Go ahead, yeah, look that
and
up.
something up. Yeah, fact check me.
Here we go, live on the show. That's
200 something more than
2,467.
Yeah. So that's in the ballpark of the death toll in 9/11.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the heck, man.
So that document is just 1 year in September.
And also I say that I'm not a 9/11 conspiracy believer, but I do believe in the military-industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that
war makes money.
Well, I mean, this is something that President Kennedy warned us about. There's a really famous speech where he's basically snitching on the military-industrial complex. He's snitching on these high-level intelligence agencies like the CIA holding this information against its citizens basically, and spying on the citizens, and he's basically making this call on he's basically just calling it out.
There's high journalists and other government officials who have come out and say, and probably are not in government anymore, lost their jobs for this, but it's quoting right here that is rebuilding America's defenses is often cited as evidence that a blueprint for American domination of the world was implemented under the cover of war on terrorism. And it's unacceptable.
We've been in there for so long.
Yeah, you wonder why.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of it's excuse, and who knows? They say that Russia has their hand in supplying terror, but these Middle East countries do not have enough money to feed into the terrorist organization. Yeah. So it makes you think what if we are feeding our own
I remember when they killed
own.
bin Laden, I was like, oh yay, my parents don't have to deploy anymore. And then they're like, now we're here, and we're like, my friends are deploying to the Middle East. It's
yeah. Seriously. Yeah, Nick. Shout out to Nick.
Shout out to
Nick.
Shout out to Shuey boy.
Shout out to Schumann.
Yeah, so that's kind of my little take on that document 1 year prior, and so now we're getting into that just makes something fishy, right? And
it raises the question
exactly.
As to what is that?
You can think you can argue the two, you ask anybody, what are the two most tragic things that ever happened in America
on U.S. soil?
On U.S. soil.
Pearl Harbor, 9/11.
9/11. Yep.
Right. And the fact that it says like a new Pearl Harbor is just sketchy.
They're they go hand in hand.
There's no other events that are like that.
Oh yeah. Now we'll get into a little more stuff. So there's an argument saying there's a debunked conspiracy that there was no airport security. There was airport security. It was nowhere near as much as it is today.
It's not TSA.
No, not
literally
TSA.
TSA was after.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For that
was the answer for.
There's
9/11.
movies where they go up to the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go and they
sure.
go through a metal detector and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But because their argument was this has never happened before. No one knew that a commercial aircraft can be hijacked and crash into this. Well, that's a lie, and it's a fact because there is this military training thing that happened conveniently a couple months after this document was made, called Guardian Angel, or Vigilant Guardian.
Yeah, that was it.
Vigilant Guardian, and what it was literally. They had planes, different commercial planes and small airliners, simulation, hijacked, so what a military response would be if a plane were to be hijacked, and crash into specific targets. These specific targets are the Pentagon, the Capitol Building, and the World Trade Center, three of the biggest ones. What? And they simulated all of this happening. So, there would be there's they're called TDYs or something like that in the Air Force, where they're just training missions. You'll go and okay, what if we bomb this sort of place, or what if we did recon of this, do this over Arizona or something like that. And so they would take their F-16s and their C-130s and do these little training missions. It was a huge executive training thing that happened with all the military. and it goes deep. So this thing's happening. So they cannot argue and say that they did not know these things were going to happen, because you can look it up. You can Google. I'll give you the sites, the sources where I got my information towards the end. But you cannot argue to say that the government or no one else knew about this, because they did. They were literally planning for a government response, military response, if something like this were to happen, and crash into those three. And they did it around those three targets specifically: the Capitol building, the Pentagon, and the World Trade Center.
Okay. Right off the bat.
Right off the bat, like that's who they were playing.
No. I'm saying like right off the bat, if our government was like planning to, like, let's say they signed that document and they said, okay, let's say we'll give it a year to set everything up to make sure we cover our loose ends. We'll give it a year. Next year, from the signing of this document, we're gonna simulate a Pearl Harbor and do it in real life. So then what's the motive of training for it? What's the motive to have your military do operations if you're just gonna force it anyway?
I'll get there.
Okay.
We'll see.
Ooh.
So they plan for this because it's more of it's called compartmentalism.
Compartmentalizing, yeah.
Yeah, compartmentalizing, where it's a need to know basis. So say that even President Bush may have not known this was like a real thing, which but or maybe like generals in the military are not may not know this is gonna happen. They're just been told, hey, this could be a possible threat, so we need to practice for this. You know what I mean? So maybe to keep things running and to and there's some more motives, but we'll get there in a minute. I'll hit those later on. I don't want to confuse anybody right now.
Okay.
More than I already am. Yeah. So there's a lot of fighters around Washington D.C. and important buildings. It's a government, but it's the Capitol, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say these trainings have been going on for months and months and months, and let's just say they happen to be doing it on the day before and the day of September 11th, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do? That places their fighters that work in Washington D.C. across the country to California to do that training, and the ones from the north would go down to the south, onto the borders and stuff like that, and do training. And so all of these fighters that would be responses to the 9/11 terrorist attack, if a plane were to be hijacked and stuff like that, were no longer in that area. They were off cross country doing that training because they didn't want to compromise it.
They didn't want to get them stopped.
Yeah, and get this too. So they call them ghost flights or whatever, and there's this whole simulation. And when this is more getting to the next episode, but when the reports of planes being hijacked, they were, because they played this as realistic as they could, because you got to do training as a realistic way. You practice how you train, or you train how you play.
Mm-hmm.
They did it as realistic as they could, so they thought that these reports of hijacks were coming in, like, hey, my plane's hijacked, were part of that training. And so they hesitated, did nothing about it.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not on them though.
No, I mean it's just their job. I mean
Yeah.
it's crazy. They say it took 30 seconds for them to realize, but I mean the fighters were all the way across country and could not, because that situation were to happen, they will crash the plane, so it doesn't crash.
What a
anything
coincidence! Else. They're training for a hijacking, and then all of a sudden a hijacking happens in real life.
The amount of coincidences in this whole conspiracy is enough to say, like, hang on a minute, like, it's not just, like, I get that there could be a coincidence, and it's like, oh, it's kind of just bad. There's a coincidence.
Well,
coincidences happen, but so many of these different little factors in this whole thing playing a part in this whole thing. There's no way that this is not, like, there's at least something going on with this.
All right. Well, just the coincidence, or I guess the couple of coincidences already, that like you have a document about how to make America the top in the world. Yeah. And in doing so, to expedite that process, we have to have another Pearl Harbor.
We have to do 9/11.
A year, like the
1 year and a month.
A year to the month of 9/11, and then a year later, in September,
doing that training on that day.
Yeah, they're doing training for hijacking.
All those defensive measures that could have stopped those hijacked planes way before they hit anything. They could have shot them down.
Yeah.
Weren't there.
Yeah.
Convenient, fishy. And there was, I want to say it was like 20 minutes. They were Flight 11 was one of the flights that were hijacked that day, and they were responding on the radio with something about where's Ghost Flight 11, You know what I mean? Which was
Okay.
like weird because it's kind of hard to explain without watching like the whole thing that I did.
Yeah, he's
but-
been watching something that's pretty interesting. I still got to watch it.
Yeah, it's they called it Ghost Flight 11, which could have been the planned Flight 11. That could have been that like plane that they decided that was gonna crash.
Oh, I got
You
you.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they thought it was the scenario and whatnot, and so no one did anything about it because I mean they were flying from.
Oh,
Dallas
so wait, you're
to-
saying that the military had simulations of a Flight 11?
Yeah.
But then it actually ended up
Yes,
being
yes,
Flight 11
that's
in
exactly
real
what I'm
life?
saying. Yes.
What the heck?
Yeah. They had simulations and they were training for one of the flights that were being because there were several flights hijacked in that simulation on that same time. One of those flights was called Ghost Flight 11, and Flight 11 ended up being one of the ones that did crash.
That's such a weird coincidence because there's so many planes in the air at one time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The odds that like the one that gets hijacked is the one in the simulation.
Yep.
And if you're doing a simulation, like what is the significance of 11 in a simulation?
Yeah, it could have been anything. You know,
What's the significance?
but it's 11.
And then you were talking about how they were obviously the ones from the north were in the south doing the training, and they had a hesitated response to the actual call because they thought it was a simulation, and that would make sense because if both planes are Flight 11,
Exactly, yeah.
they really think it's a
That's
simulation
exactly
because
what it is.
that's what they're
This is
being
their flight's
trained.
called. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, that's so strange.
Already, man. You know what I'm
That's so
saying? It's
strange.
fishy. And it's not like I'm just like exaggerating or like making assumptions or presumptions or anything. This is documented
That's a
stuff.
whack coincidence.
Anybody can look this up, and it's
three
released.
flight
That's
records of
3
that.
giant
Classified.
coincidences.
Yeah.
right there. 3 huge ones.
Yeah, it's just insane because I mean, I think one of the flights were from Dallas. And I'm not sure if this one crashed in Philadelphia, going to Washington D.C. or Los Angeles. I can't remember the exact location where these planes go because they're really not that significant to the story. But like, it's a couple-hour flight. You know what I mean? It's at least 2 hours to get in like 2 hours of, and they hijacked it pretty early. Like they hijacked it, I think within like 20 minutes, 40 minutes of flight in flight time.
Yeah.
And so like that's plenty of time to get a plane because I don't know if you know how fast that response would be. Like they'd be up in
Right.
those F-16s
Right.
like that and going in and they would shoot it down.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. San Antonio is known for the Air Force.
Yeah.
I mean,
Got Lackland, Randolph.
that's literally Military City, USA.
Mm-hmm.
And you're what, 5 hours north of San Antonio?
Yep.
That's a 40-minute plane flight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in a commercial plane. If we're talking about F-16s, you'd get there in 20 minutes.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, happened to be cross country, man. Because I remember one of our buddies' dad was a pilot that day, and he was talking about how he knew this one girl who was on the response team, and she was a fighter pilot, and they were like, "We don't have time to load your weapons. You're gonna have to crash into the plane." And as soon as you're gonna try to eject, but most likely you're gonna have to crash in that plane and kind of kamikaze it.
yeah.
And she was willing to do so. That's what she signed up for. Like give her life. So she went up there and that was the plane that crashed on the ground. They got retaken over by the passengers in the plane and crashed into the ground.
Gotcha.
Which is crazy to think about. But like that's how delayed the response was. Like didn't even have time.
And that was supposed to go to probably the Capitol or the White House,
Oh
right?
yeah. Supposedly we'll get into that too next week.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, so going back to this little blue box or blue book thing.
Project
Yeah.
Blue Book?
Yeah.
Yep.
That has been proven in some ways or another. Yeah.
Well, you can go look that. I mean,
declassified.
that's a legit declassified
Yeah.
government project.
Well, you know what's a funny thing? You know who was on that list? Osama bin Laden.
No way.
They were like, okay, who's the guy that's going to be the easiest to blame this on? And this is more kind of going to the second or third part of the series, but there are plenty of accounts at the beginning. He denied the whole thing. You would think, as a huge radical terrorist who wanted to bring harm and death to America, that you would take credit
You'd be
for
like,
3,000
"I did this."
American deaths. Like,
Yeah.
Al Qaeda did this. Like,
Yeah, that's
Allahu
like
Akbar.
that's like when a serial killer that like isn't as efficient as like a Dahmer or a Bundy.
Yeah.
Like he'll just start claiming all these random murders because
Off the
he
cold
wants to
cases,
yeah,
yeah.
he just like wants to make his name bigger.
Yep.
Like that's the same thing. You'd want to think that like the terrorist like Big Daddy
Yep.
would just of course I claim
They
that.
didn't even like. He said he didn't even know about it because you got to think like how, like now I'm saying not uncivilized, but like how behind they are in like technology, like in the Middle East, because they just don't have those kind of resources.
Yeah.
They don't. A lot of them now don't even know what 9/11 is. Like especially like the like our age, like who weren't like born or we were born, but like people who are like younger, stuff like that, who were like
Yeah.
born like over there, like young adults, mid-teens, don't even know what 9/11 is just because like the lack of technology they have.
Wow.
And he didn't even. He was like, I don't know. I maybe saw it, but I did not have anything to do with this. My organization did not have anything to do with this. And we were just like, Al-Qaeda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, crazy to think about. And we'll kind of go into, I guess, kind of feeds into. So that whole thing happened on that day before they crashed the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. We'll kind of go into the pilot. So I want to say there was 24 hijackers in total, with all like 4 or 5 flights who got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there was like 4 or 5 planes who got hijacked, and they were going back and like, you know, you got to think about how no one knew anybody with these, because if they were raising red flags, you would think from a background sense, saying that 9/11 is not a conspiracy, you would think that they knew these people, they wouldn't even let them get on a plane. Like if they knew they were part of an organization like this, you would not be allowed to get on a plane. But they all did.
Yeah, but then there wasn't a TSA. There wasn't any organization doing like
but
a check like that back
exactly.
then.
So if you can, and there's been like these. So then that means there's random people supposed to the government.
They're just people.
Then why were they one of the first to like be identified with the plane? Like, you know, their bodies were obliterated. Like they were gone by the jet fuel. Like they were disintegrated. Like there were not many identifiable body parts on the
especially in the
passengers.
cockpit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and they were among the first to be identified. And then they found a passport on one of the hijackers on the bottom of the World Trade Center, like just fully intact from that plane, which is kind of fishy too.
Wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't. Anything in the plane is burned to dust.
Yeah, you can look. There's a passport of one of the hijackers that was found near the World Trade Center.
How does that even happen?
Don't even know. Don't ask me. And there were some that
It's
like
paper.
Yeah,
That's literally the needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
Like
You don't just find that.
no, not like you can just throw it out the window right before you hit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's records and stuff, because like, you know, the way they flew a plane was that they did like simulations or whatever. They took classes to like through the U.S. and stuff like that, and there are logbooks saying that these people never even have passed a single class or did it well.
like getting off the ground even.
Yeah, like doing these simulations, like there's no way these guys would be able to fly 757, 737, whatever. And there's a whole thing, and it's kind of getting into the next episode too, so that's where I kind of will stop in a minute. There's a whole pilot section that we'll talk about next episode about how there's no physical possible way that someone who's unexperienced, who's never flown one of these before, for 0 hours, can be able to fly at the velocity angle that they in that sort of time, like the way like the airspeed and stuff works, that big of an aircraft into the World Trade Center at that angle that they did. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to get into that.
So yeah, so like the velocity of the plane and the physics of like the lift and stuff like that, and the way the speed, because you have computers, you can generate all that stuff, but like exactly how fast the plane was going, and like the way it hit the building, and how like the angles and stuff. Like there was no possible way that an inexperienced pilot could have ever done that. The one that crashed in Philadelphia, the pilot put the plane inverted. That's why it crashed.
Yeah.
So they didn't really physically take over the cockpit and fly it under. It was that they just crashed it because
Gotcha.
they were about to bust through the cockpit.
Gotcha.
And so he flew the 757 inverted, which is impossible if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So these people are unexperienced, never flown a thing in their life, go over there and just fly a 757 at that kind of like. There's all these numbers and stuff, but these are like airline pilots coming out and saying this was a whole thing, and they gotten canceled, like left their jobs, fired, whatnot. It goes in crazy deep. But that's the main two things that I wanted to cover
got
in
huge
this episode.
Yeah.
coincidences.
Yeah. Three massive coinky dinks.
He's already got me hooked on it because he's watching like JFK conspiracies too. So I'm like in between this and then like, wow, the CIA really killed JFK.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no, 100%.
There's no
But,
doubt.
yeah, the main things I want to get in this episode is that we all realize it. So the two documents, the PNAC, back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So the PNAC and the Rebuilding America's Defenses, the quotes about how in order to become the world power, become the most superior country, that it's going to be a long, and even if it's revolutionary, it's going to be a long, long process unless something catastrophic or another catalyzing event like a new Pearl Harbor. Exactly 1 year from September 11, 2001, the document came out, signed by 27 huge government officials, including Jeb Bush and Dick Cheney. 1 year from September 2000. And then you have the training mission, Vigilant Guardian, which plans and trains for specific flights and commercial flights being hijacked and crashing into the exact targets that were hit in 9/11, and there was no government response because there was training for that specific event on that day, which caused all the fighters and all the response team to be cross-country or overseas, wherever they need to go doing this training.
And in that simulation, there was a Flight 11.
Yeah.
That's the
And-
weirdest.
yep.
And why, if you're making, okay, like for example, when you,
I don't know, Casey.
no. When you make, you know, a code for anything, just a basic code or a basic simulation, as the analogy that I'm trying to make here goes. So, like, you know, what is the significance with 11? If I'm just making a simulation out of nowhere, I would do, you know, flight 0 or flight 1 or,
Yeah.
you know, flight 69, just a random number, you know? But what's with 11?
See,
What's
I
with 11?
would-
And then
I
what
would
are the
argue-
odds? What are the odds that the same exact flight in the simulation is the actual flight in real
Yep.
life on the exact same day?
Yep. I would say out of all those coincidences, I think that would be the most likely to be a coincidence is the Flight 11. But with all the other like, mixed in and partnered with all the other coincidences, that makes it even worse.
It's
Like,
the signature.
Yeah.
It's the
So
signature.
if it was just like a simulation and there was a Flight 11, like I could see that being like, okay, that could be a straight up weird coincidence. But you partner that with all like rebuilding America's defenses and Vigilant Guardian, the whole thing, and the day, and their specific targets that they would think would be crashed into as a hijack situation was the Pentagon.
Let's just
World
say
Trade Center.
Flight 11 went in the World Trade Center.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Well, but it's like you were saying earlier when, you know, they hesitated because they thought it was a simulation.
Yep.
They thought the real, like, you know, actual event was a simulation. Well, that makes sense if that was planned, and if they designed the simulation to say Flight 11 because they knew the real flight was going to be Flight 11, and they wanted to slow down the actual, you know, defense against that. That would make sense.
Because you got to think about it. If it's a compartmentalism again. Okay. So not everyone knew about this whole the military was doing their job, and so they heard about this. The correct response would be go take it down. So the big people who make those kind of decisions about making Vigilant Guardian a thing and about executing it on this kind of day may have knew about it and may have put that, you know. So if not that wouldn't have happened on that specific day, those planes most likely would not have hit anything. It would have been just a tragedy for the people or the passengers, not anybody else. They would have crashed into a field somewhere because they would got shot down.
Yeah.
So that would have been a completely different story. That's why that this happened on that specific day, and like that was the motive of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And there was also that simulation thing. There was also 2 more flights that were supposedly hijacked, and no one knows what happened to them. They were reported there was a Delta flight and a Korean Airlines flight, along with the 4 other flights who actually physically crashed or something. There were 2 more that were really, really heavily reported about being hijacked, non-simulation, and you never heard about you heard of Flight 11 and Flight, all of those. You never heard about the Delta flight or Korean Airlines flight. No one knows what happened to them. No one knows if it was part of. I mean, this was like after the simulation was like, okay, this is real life, and so you can't argue that was the simulation because it obviously wasn't. So don't know what happened to them. That's all the information I have on those 2 planes. But
That's interesting. So they
It's
just
different.
Did they just crash?
no idea. No idea what happened to them.
That's like that
I'll
Malaysian
get more
airline.
information to you. I just kind of found
Yeah.
that out today when I was
The
researching
aliens
this.
were acting up same day as 9/11.
Weird glitch in the system.
Yeah. But cite my sources.
Go
I
ahead.
got most of these off government pages. The documentary that kind of changed my perspective because there's all these conspiracies about 9/11 about how that are way out there. It's like
Holograms.
even Pedogate is kind of way out there, but a lot of it is this is like the most realistic and most evidence backed conspiracy I found, or at least theory. Because there's like stuff about like how the planes were holograms, weren't even real, they were just bombs, and those were definitely real planes with real people inside of them. You know what I mean?
Kill streaks.
Yeah. So that's all I got for part 1. So
Okay.
part 2 we'll get of the actual day when they actually hit.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned.
That was a little
Episode
more interesting.
70.
Yeah.
That was a
well,
little more interesting.
I know if by chance you are listening to this and you had a loved one pass away during this event, we don't want to take the deaths of anyone during 9/11 lightly. It's just about why this happened and how this happened, and so we we want to be very respectful of people who lost their lives in this tragedy. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, I mean that's not a conspiracy. Like 2,277, I want to say
Did die.
Did die.
Yeah, they did die. They
It's
lost
tragedy.
the craziest
and
thing.
even more in the wars that followed.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the craziest. And if you did do that, then thank you for your service, regardless of the intent. But the craziest thing for me are all the other weird small coincidences around like people that didn't show up to work that day. You know.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like
he's gonna
like-
get into that. There's some
like-
weird ones.
Yeah, I
Like
mean-
I had to tie my or like I had a cut on like my leg or something, and I had to stop at this one little corner store to get a Band-Aid,
Yeah.
and so I was late to work. Oh, but by the time
The owner of the World Trade Center. Okay, granted, for his like from his perspective, there was a bombing. I want to say in '93 or something like that. Definitely in the
Yes,
'90s
that's
of the
the
World
year you
Trade
told me.
Center that did kill people.
Yeah.
And was a pretty big threat. So, but he got insurance, like terrorist insurance, and it wasn't too long after that, but it also wasn't too long away from 9/11 either. Like pretty good.
Yeah,
it went a
if
good
there was
amount
a
of time.
bombing in '93,
It wasn't like 10 years before, but it wasn't like a day before either. It was like a good, but it was still like kind of fishy on how soon it was to the 9/11 attacks. And he happened to have a disappointment that day, didn't show up to work, and happened to gain billions of dollars off that insurance.
Yeah.
And we'll get on into because there's 7. I think I'm gonna say like there's 7 buildings in the. It's not just the Twin Towers that make up the World Trade Center. There's building 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. That's a big one and they're all gone. They were all gone that day. It's insane.
Very weird.
Yeah, we'll get into that next
Yeah,
episode.
just the weirdest thing is like people like I called in sick today, or I had traffic today, or again I think the thing with the scab or the blister on your
Yes,
foot
I know
is
what
a
you're
real
talking
thing.
about.
He had to stop to get a Band-Aid and couldn't show up to work that day, but it's like you missed the train or like you felt sick.
Which could be coincidence. That's just like insanely lucky. I was watching a thing and he wrote a book too. I can't remember what the book was called, but he was a pilot. And the way that the system works in American Airlines and stuff like that is that it's a system, and you have like an off day, in which the end of your off day you'll go in, you'll see what's open, flights that are open, and you'll put your name in. That's pretty much saying that like, hey, I'm gonna be the pilot, I'm gonna be the captain of this flight going this place for this day, right? So he did that, and it was flight. Can't remember. I think it was flight. I can't remember what flight it was. 37, 17, maybe 73. I don't know. But he put his name in, but then it has to be there for I think 36 hours in order to be final or something like that. Like very short amount of time then it's final. And it's someone who was senior to him called and got it changed to his name because it was his like wife's birthday or something like that, and he wanted to go there so he can get the other day off or something like that. So that pilot that was originally on that flight got booted for the senior guy to come in, and it was the plane that was hijacked. So he was like that lucky to. It's insane, but some of those things are definitely coincidences. But some of them are like, for example, a single Jew did not die in 9/11. That's just me. But I know it's kind of out there, but
Yeah, I wanted to
there's not
run.
much-
I wanted to run the numbers on the probability of that event because New York is known for its Jewish community,
Yes.
and like it's just.
I also
That's
don't
where
know.
they'll
I mean,
hang out.
that's pretty far out there. Like not one Jew, like not one Jewish person out of 2,277 people.
You would
passed
have
away.
to calculate like the concentration per 1,000 persons.
How many
in New York?
how many
How
people
many
like
are
that
Jewish?
worked
Don't
in
quote
the
me.
World
I'm pretty sure that there's got to be at least one. But
in
but
one of
I've
the
heard that
in
from
one
a lot
of the
people.
7 buildings.
Yeah, there's got to be at least one Jewish person there. But I have heard from a lot of people, a lot of places that no Jews died on the event. But I'm almost positive that someone did. But
Yeah, I
It's
want
crazy.
to run the numbers on that to see like what the concentration of Jewish people in that general area was per 1,000 people, and then see if there wasn't a single Jew that died. Is there a way that this ties into the conspiracy, or is it just a weird fact?
that was just a weird
Just a
thing
weird
I've heard.
coincidence?
I haven't looked that up, searched that personally.
Okay.
But that I've heard like from like when I was researching all this stuff about how that was like a factor, but I'm not really 100% sure if that's like because that is not evidence backed
Weird.
like the rest of the stuff is.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah.
It was a good 69 for me.
Yeah, it was a great 69.
That was a great
for me.
69. That was awesome.
Thank you so much for 69ing with us. We're gonna cut that out.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Leave it in.
Okay, we'll fix it in post. This is how the episode's gonna go. Basically, every week we're gonna have me do sports. He's doing meme stuff. I don't know.
Dank memes.
Dank.
Memes.
Just stuff on the Twitter trending, just to keep us updated on the news, if you will.
Yes.
And then Mr. Zach Smith's gonna hit us with some knowledge.
Some
Hit
wokeness.
us.
What
with
is
some
he
wokeness.
doing? Knowledge. What is he
Knowledge.
doing these days?
I don't know.
I'm gonna
He's-
track him down. It'll be
Okay,
an
track him
episode.
down. Do it. Okay.
Ty
Anyway,
Lopez.
again, go check us out on patreon.com/throne room. Or if you don't want to spend money, if you're cheap, we get it. You're a college kid. Whatever. We just go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Throne Room. Subscribe on YouTube, like the video, share the video, or if you're listening to audio only, do that. Go give us a review on iTunes. It doesn't matter what you say. You can talk about your bad day at school, and it's just weird Apple algorithm that helps us up the charts. So do that. Thanks so much for watching. Y'all got anything else?
ZSmitty_22 on Instagram and ZSmith22 on Snapchat. Please give me a follow.
There you go.
JPink19 on Instagram, JPink1999 on Snapchat. Some random dude did in fact add me, but he keeps leaving me unread.
What a whore.
King __Alex __ on Instagram at AKingBoss99 on Twitter, and again, the Throne Room on Instagram and Twitter, both ways. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining us.